me feel the way I feel. Just open up your heart and let me in.
Welcome back to the all-consuming filming Now or Never show. We've been paying tribute to Samantha Humphrey and her family all day, and I promised a very special guest, and we are very lucky. This is a rare opportunity to have my guest, always Carey, on air. Welcome, always Carey.
Thank you, Kimberly.
I see you have that hat on, Senior Entourage, with your name on it. That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, we're in the process of financing the whole
Can you tell
shebang.
me about your projects, what's going on today, and then we can get into prayer for the Humphrey family?
Yeah, it's a day before the Oscar week, so it's just a very exciting time. Within sadness and sorrow, there's also joy and happiness on the other side. So we're going to just enjoy this Oscar week and get the senior entourage financed so we can bring some joy to the world.
Can you tell people, Bruce elaborated a little bit last week about what Senior Entourage is. Can you tell in your own words what the new Senior Entourage movie is coming up, what you have in store for that?
Well, with Brian Connors, amazing director, producer within his forthright. He's got Jamie Lee Curtis and Pierce Bronson lined up to do Senior Entourage. It may be shot in Greece, Jamaica, or New York City. So
That's
there's three
perfect.
locations. Yeah, there's three locations. So
Brian is
he's
a very good friend of mine, as you are always, and I appreciate having you on my show because these rare opportunities, it's so special. And I've been promising the community that you're a God-loving man and you've been praying for the world's adversity and that kind of thing. It's going to be good to have a senior entourage comedy series where we all can get together and unite and bring laughter.
yeah, yeah.
Don't
We
you
need some
agree?
laughter. Yeah, we need some laughter in the world, especially right now.
Can you tell me about the song Universal Love? You wrote it for Samantha Humphrey and her family. Can you tell me what went into writing Universal Love and how long it took to make?
Well, God showed me to do it for the Humphreys and to the world. And it took about a couple weeks to get it all together within the musicians, within the writings, and it's just been an amazing journey, a sad uh, and a mourning journey because there's a lot of sadness that goes in with it. But it's definitely a tribute to Samantha and her family for you know our loss, and it's just a sad situation, but we want to bring some closure and some love to the situation.
In Universal Love, having your voice and on air, and you're such a talent, and it's so awesome that we have access to your music being in the same entertainment industry. What would you say your favorite song is that you've ever wrote, that you might want to see in Senior Entourage with Jamie Lee Curtis and Pierce Bronson?
Love Always, the song I wrote for my grandmother when she passed away in 2008. I've been working on that song even before she passed away. But once she passed away, it just gave me some motivation to really get it done. And the Love Always song is always close to my heart.
And we did the music video, and there's some clips from Italy, and then there's some clips in New York. And we made the sequel for the Love Always music video, and we'll play that in this segment as well. What other music videos do you feel need to be out there? What songs would you like to re-record and maybe shoot a music video in Pasadena or in New York, or possibly on set when you're doing Senior Entourage?
There's a song called Two Dozen Roses, a song I've been writing all my life. And I wrote a version with Howard Hewitt from Shalimar and Miracle Holloway. Um, they they brought a great remix to it. But 2 dozen roses represents 2 dozen, 24 hours of God's love, 2 dozen roses, just in uh, a bouquet of God's beautiful flowers to the world. So the song is called 2 Dozen Roses, to bring uplift and love to the world. So I would love to get a video to that and be able to shoot it from the Senior Entourage standpoint.
Yeah, and Senior Entourage One had producer Kevin Lockhart, and had also our wonderful friend Brian Connors. And at that time, we got to screen Senior Entourage One in Pasadena. You're in LA right now, correct? And I'm in New York.
I'm in Pasadena slash Glendale. I'm in both situations with my wife and daughter this weekend.
That's
So
perfect.
it's like 50 degrees out here.
And we just got a snowstorm in New York, and I promised with the memorial of Samantha Humphrey that you would lead us in prayer on air for the family. Could we take 2 minutes to do that, please?
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
Let me grab my Bible.
Okay.
Thank you.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day that you made. We count it our joy. We thank you for the Humphrey family. Um, we call condolences and worldwide love spread for the loss of Samantha. And we just thank you for your grace and your mercy that covers this situation, regardless if we don't understand it or not. We know between the good, the bad, the happy, and the sad that you're in the midst of it all. So we thank you that we have faith to continue to lean into your understanding and your ways, not our ways and our understanding, but may we be able to really uh, dig deep and figure out what our next move is, what our next situation is in life with this situation, because it's so heart wrenching and it's so sad for the family, for so many, not just Samantha, but so many young women are being abducted in these times. We just pray for protection, direction, and resurrection for even the ones that's experiencing situations, even right now. We pray for that protection and that rescue. But Heavenly Father, we thank you for your grace that covers this situation, for the Humphrey family, the parents of Samantha, the mother, the father, the siblings, the nieces, the nephews, the aunts and uncles, the whole family. We pray for, and one day may they be able to get some closure. May one day they be able to understand this situation, because even right now, I don't even understand it. So Heavenly Father, may you be able to just allow us to carry on your message, carry on your witness, carry on what you want us to do on this earth, in this world. May we be able to spread love and not hate. May we be able to spread forgiveness and not unforgiveness in this time, in this season. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. And I know Samantha's mother will be super touched that you came on air to pray for her and her family. Can you tell me a little bit about what's going to be transpiring and what California is going to look like in the next couple of weeks with the Oscars coming. What does
Oh
it look like?
man, the Oscars, the red carpet everywhere. It's just so many people are coming in from all over the world because this is the first Oscars without the mask and the COVID situation. So more people are more open and free to talk and mingle and really rub elbows. So it's just a different excitement over the last 2.5, 3 years. And we feel so blessed to be in this season, to be able to bring more movies, television, and TV series to the world.
Now, Jamie Lee Curtis, who was in the first Senior Entourage, that's going to be in the second for those of you just joining us with Always, Carey. Is she going to be walking the red carpet with all the other stars in the next couple of weeks? Is she going to the Oscars? Have you heard?
Oh yeah, she is. She's up for an Oscar in everywhere. The movie that just won the SAG and AFTRA, she just won last week, and she will be there. This is her in 64 years. This is her first opportunity to get an Oscar. So we're very excited, and we're hoping that she actually captures that Oscar on March 12th.
Yeah, and we're rooting for Jamie Lee because she's one of ours. So very exciting about that. And how do you get ready for the Oscars? What goes into preparing to go walk the red carpet?
I just do a lot of meditation in the morning, uh, get a nice little workout, and get a nice facial. Go and get in the hot tub, steam room, um, and just get the penguin tuxedo ready because we all look like penguins out here for a couple of days. But I just just prepare spiritually, mentally, and physically for the event because it's a long day, but it's definitely an exciting and awesome day.
Yeah, it's very
Even after,
exciting, and I appreciate you giving me the invite, but I have to stay back in New York and cheer everybody on in New York with the Now or Never show. However, we'll be with you in spirit. And
yeah,
yeah, and I know the late Helen Reddy and Ed Asner will be with you
yeah,
as well in spirit. And with
yeah, definitely.
they've seen a
And
lot of Oscars and that kind of thing. But can you tell me a little bit about what a day in a life looks like for somebody walking the red carpet that has never been there before?
it's just a lot of hurry up and wait for that day. Security is bananas out here because of just the time we live in. Then there's a lot of just you know a lot of interviews, a lot of coverage of the local news, international news, paparazzi everywhere, and they get all the actresses and actors that get whisked into this room and into the green room, and then there's a lot of waiting before the show. Then once it's taped, it's amazing, about 3.5 hours, and then it's go off to Vanity Fair, off to the official after parties, and just a lot of celebration for the winners and the ones that's been nominated, and even the ones that lost that has another chance the following year. It's just a beautiful time in Tinseltown.
Yeah, and you call it Tinseltown. I have seen you in a tux before. What color is your
Yeah.
tie going to be this year?
Blue. My favorite color, blue. It's gonna be blue. Heavenly blue.
Very exciting stuff. And tell me a little bit about when we get Senior Entourage up and running into production. Are you going to end up going on set, or are you going to give us your recordings, or are you going to participate in the production piece of what's going to be happening when Senior Entourage 2 is made?
Yeah, I'm gonna be and shout out to Big Bruce. I'm gonna be over there with everyone, just whatever's needed. But I'm definitely bringing music to the situation with Brian Connors,
Yes,
and
you
we've
are. Brian and I had that conversation. It's all your music.
yeah. So we're bringing the music and the scores, and I want to step in like John Williams and just make some good, amazing score pieces for the intro to the middle to the outro, the senior entourage, and just make it a classic musical event.
And can you tell me about the piece of your life with basketball and what's going to be happening with basketball in March?
Oh yeah, the March Gladness Madness. It's a NAAC. It's the NCAA situation with the all the colleges around America is goes into a 64 team tournament, and it's takes all of March going into April 1st to the 3rd to be able to crown a championship. And all of my life, I've been involved in it. I played basketball from middle school, high school, and a little bit of college. But I wanted to make sure I did a song called "Hoop It Up," and it was for all people that love basketball, not just pros, not just college, but just even a 5-year-old can hoop it up, male or female. And shout out to the International Women Month, the month for women. I want to make sure that we celebrate all of our women. And
Thank
the
you.
Hoop It Up, you're welcome. The Hoop It Up situation is just to bring celebration to a march that's different because COVID isn't involved with the cancellations of games or wearing masks. It's just almost back to normal. So it's
Good.
just a beautiful, beautiful moment.
You have 1,300 songs, over 1,300 songs in your catalog. Can you
Yes.
tell me about your genre?
No, 13, no, 13,300.
13,000, correct me.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
13,000 songs
300.
in your
Yeah.
in your catalog, and
Yeah.
you have not one curse word in any one of those songs, correct?
Yeah, we don't have any type of explicit lyrics. We want to make sure that we are just in all respect to women, no degrading women, no curse words at all. We don't tolerate it. Zero tolerance for any of that type of um, language.
You have the G-rated songs and such a powerful voice with an incredible talent. And it was so fun to get this music video together for you, which we're definitely going to show in this segment. However, can you tell me about what messages that you're going to portray, and what, if you're going to write music, extra songs for Senior Entourage?
Yeah, the extra songs is going to be just when it's scripted, just with the scripts that I read. It's going to be going on the dailies. So I'm just always writing, but it's going to be real particular with the music. As soon as I see the dailies, I'll be able to write to whatever's there.
And you have this hip hop flair kind of thing going, but it's in a Christian way, it's in a God loving way. Would you ever deviate from that genre?
No, I'm going to be doing Christian music all of my life. That's who I am. And only thing I'll be able to do is just add more genre, like the country side of it, country music, the worldwide music, um, Spanish music, different languages. But everything's based on the Christian values in the music.
What kind of best picture are you rooting for? Have you followed the films that are nominated in the Oscars? Is there anything that you are leading towards as a favorite pick, maybe, or a favorite actor or actress?
Yeah, I'm going for Jamie Lee Curtis and the Everywhere, the movie. and I'm going for John Williams to win his sixth Oscar for uh, the um, The Thelmans. It's loosely based on Steven Spielberg's life, and I'm rooting for John Williams this year to win.
That's perfect. And we're definitely rooting for Jamie Lee since she is one of our own. And shout out Jamie Lee. And my uncle worked on our house. I mentioned that before in Idaho, someplace. And it's just such an amazingness to be in the entertainment business when we can spread the messages that are family friendly and help the world globally. What messages would you have in the future for this world, for the people that are getting involved in the entertainment industry? What messages would you like to tell our audience?
Yeah, basically to the world, I would love to just tell you to be gracious. Um, I'm learning that on a day-to-day basis, to be gracious, uh, to be merciful, to be forgiving, loving, and just understanding and have patience with one another, to be able to be the best you that you can be on a day-to-day basis. Because every day we have to reboot. Because I know we all deal with our own challenges, our own
Yes.
difficulties, but we need to really um, take a moment and see what somebody else is going through, and love thy neighbor like thyself.
Awesome and wise words. And we're going to be following the fact that we're going to be looking for pictures for from the Oscar parties from
Yeah.
you. And we are going to be sitting tight and hopefully seeing Jamie Lee Curtis get another trophy.
Yeah.
And March Madness is here, and you're going to the. Are you going to some of those games with the basketball?
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to
Okay,
some of the games and for the hoop it up, uh, the ones that's out here on the West Coast.
perfect. That's so awesome, and it's so exciting that your music is going to be in the film that my future films that I'm doing, and now picked up by Senior Entourage. And I
Yeah.
just with all of the catalog that I've heard and the different songs that I've heard, I still have my favorite, and that's Love Always.
Yeah.
And I love the saying Love Always.
Yeah.
You're just like a genius with that. What kind of branding do you think is how did you come up with that title? How did you come up with Love Always? That's awesome.
Well, my dad named me Always, and he said it was because he's gonna always love me. So when he named me Always, I just put the love into it because God is love. So I brought love always back in 1990, um, and I started using it uh, before the company. Um, I started a company called Love Always Music Group, and just my cadences when I hang up on the phone call, I just say God bless Love Always, and then I used to always say Love Always. How may I help you? From 1990 until now, and now it's just a cadence. It's just a like you said, it's just a worldwide brand to just love always, like Goodyear, like the Goodyear blimp. You know, it's just a love always cadence, and that's all we want to do is to love always.
And you raised a daughter, you have a
Oh
gorgeous
yes.
wife, you're a family man. And can you talk to me about our audience about what priorities should be in life? What's the one, two, three of priorities?
Well, my one, two, three is God number one, family number two, and then career And community and career is number three. And it's just like that. You got to, even within your career, you got to be community based, world based to help others in times of triumph or difficulties, to always be able to assist someone in some way with encouragement, hope, financial, physical, emotional, spiritual, just to always be able to help someone um, in any given moment. So God, family, and then career, community, career.
Yes, and I appreciate that too. And I don't want to take too much more of your time because I know you have to get ready for the Oscar party and
Yeah.
you're working with the senior entourage and you're working with my films and all that
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
thing. But if somebody wanted to be a part of any of my movies or senior entourage, they would have to reach out to Always Carey. So, how would one contact Always Carey?
Well, I came up with one easy website, always.com. It's ALWA5Zs.com, ALWAZZZZZ.com. And all the information, the address is on there, the phone number, the emails on there, and you can see the work that we do. You can see music that we've already produced. You can see movies that's already in the can, videos that's already done, and just a taste of a lot of our work that we've already put out. And so they can just go to always.com.
How could someone, would you boost somebody's spirits? This whole world seems to be down in the dumps and having just such hard times. Can you just boost our spirits right now?
Yeah. So just know if you're feeling down, if you're feeling low, if you're feeling suicidal, if you're feeling like you're ready to do something that you normally wouldn't do, please take a moment and look to the Heavenly Father, look to Father God, be able to really take a breath, take a deep breath, and assess the situation, because in 10 seconds you could change your whole life within a good way or a bad way. There's so many prisons and penitentiaries filled with situations where somebody, if they would have waited a couple minutes, uh, they wouldn't be there, because they wouldn't have made that decision to kill someone, or that decision to drive while intoxicated, or the decision to even take the fentanyl drug that allows somebody to die. So I just wish and pray and wish and hope that somebody listening right now, um, at the sound of my voice, will be able to really take that initiative and to think before you speak, and to really pray before you take an action that could be consequential to your future and to your life.
What is your projects need and what does the studio need?
Well, the studio, we got meetings all week. We just need some financial uh, investments that seem to be coming in. But the thing about it is, until it's sealed, signed, and delivered, we're going to stay on it. But it's looking very prosperous. So honestly, we just need to fulfill these meetings, and hopefully we'll be able to lock in the contracts for the studio to be purchased, and private acquisition merger to take place.
Perfect. And I definitely appreciate your time always. And you and I will be in touch. We've prayed together before. We've discussed Brandy alone. We've discussed missing children. We've discussed all of this natural disasters and how we need to be kind on air. What would you say to the people that have kids that are shooting other kids in schools right now before we wrap?
Man, I would say for the parents to really get involved with your children, because children shouldn't have firearms They shouldn't be able to have guns and have access to guns to be able to even shoot and kill someone. So it's really going to be on us as parents to really lock that in our homes, so they don't go out and shoot a teacher or shoot a classmate. We really got to see what our children are doing, and you know, and invade their privacy, because until they become adults, they have no privacy.
Thank you so much, always. We love your family, your beautiful wife, your gorgeous daughter. I appreciate having you and your time. You're an amazing, God-loving man, and thank you so much. And you be safe and enjoy the Oscars.
All right, thank you. God bless you, Kimberly.
God bless you as well.
This is going out to the whole world. Lost loved ones, wiping them tears away. Still remembering the love of my grandma. I can't tell it all, stand tall, never fall. She would do whatever it took, put me to sleep with that good book. If I got out of line, she would just give me the look. Never did she raise no crook. She always gave, but never took. She was my bridge over that bill book. So sincere, she was always there. Josephine, you still there, I'm right here. You taught me to love and never be scared. You taught me the truth and had no fear.
Wipe those tears away. Memories never fade. I'm still loving you always. I wish you could have stayed. All of the promises made. I'm still feeling you always.
One another, love your sister and brother, father and mother. Never keep it undercover. Don't let the flames of the smother ignite the dire breed. Plant the seed to kill envy, each other's seed. Water the seed to kill that greed and hypocrisy. Let it lead and lead, smear the blood and let it bleed. Time to be that half-breed. Let them know there's a better place for show, for show. With that type right there, we gon' flow. Gotta let that love show. Go ahead and show. The rich get richer, the poor stay poor. The streets are gold, the only place it don't snow no more.
Wipe those tears away. Memories never fade. I'm still loving you always. I wish you could have stayed. All of the promises made. I'm still feeling you always. I'll see you in my dreams, wearing your wings. You are everything to me. I'll see you when I get there. I'll never be too far. I'll see you when I get there. No shining star.
Do you really feel the way I feel? Just open up your heart and let me in. Do you really feel the way I feel? Just open up your heart and let me in.
So special.
I'm always gonna love you, no matter what's going on. No matter if you're right, no matter if I'm wrong, we can be strong. Do you really feel the way I feel? Just open up your heart and let me in.
So special.
Do you really feel the way I feel? Just open up your heart and let me in.
So special.
I got up, I did cardio, shovel, all the good shit.
Nice.
Oh man, this is my old school music, yo.
Hello, my name is Maria Perez. I am from San Antonio, Texas. 34 years ago, I was a victim of human trafficking.
Hello, I'm Brian Shree from Texas. As a previous probation and parole officer who supervised the most violent and repeated sex offenders in Florida and in Texas, human trafficking continues to this day as one of the most heinous crimes of modern day society.
I'm Kimberly Trapani, all consuming film.
Right now, traffics are robbing a staggering 24.9 million people of their freedom and basic human dignity. That's roughly 3 times the population of New York City.
They can see. They can feel.
J Money Talks.
Let's go with it. Got my dog here chilling by my feet.
Nice.
So if anybody hears rattling or anything, it's just my pup. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, my pups are passed out.
Hello, y'all.
What's
Welcome
up,
back
Kate?
to Saturday. We are live at All Consuming Filming, and we have amazing, wonderful guests. I'm not going to introduce these guests in any order of importance. They're both equally as amazing, but I've known Luca Brassy the longest, and Luca and I have worked together with personal training. He's responsible for my health and wellness and has gotten me through a lot of pinches. And also we have Tony LaTorre, who served our country in the military. Welcome, both of you. Thank you for joining us on a Saturday.
Thank you,
thank you, Kim. And I want to just correct one little thing. Tony is far more important than I am. I'll keep it modest, you know.
Stay humble.
Yes, I asked you both on, but in the time of Lucas from Schenectady. Tony, tell us where you're from.
A small little town called Broome, New York. I actually did a little research the other day on it, and there's 900 people in the whole entire town. So, yeah.
I haven't heard of Broome. I think it's down by Kingston or someplace. Is that where?
That's Broome County. So big difference. Town of Broome is literally a couple mountains, a few dirt roads, and a whole lot of cattle. There's more cattle than there is people. So it's perfect.
Yeah, that's amazing. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, Tony, since you serve the country and Lucas says you're more important?
I love him. Yeah. So, oh man. Long story short, I did fire and EMS for, I'm going on my 17th year now. Served in the Army, 10th Mountain Division. Got all fun stuff like that. Got hurt. They booed me out for getting hurt. So, fortunately, unfortunately, but everything happens for a reason. Now I run a podcast to help veterans and first responders talk about the hard stuff that we really don't talk about because we are told, early in life, especially as males, don't talk about your feelings. Well, I'm breaking that stigma and saying, no, you need to talk about those feelings. Because me and myself, I do have PTSD, anxiety, depression, all that fun stuff that came with the first responder and the military world. So we go out and we try to help and support other veteran networks and communities and first responders first and foremost, but we like to help anyone we can overall. And I'm going to school for my second degree in business. So that's fun. And yeah, married, kids, so good time.
That's awesome. And yeah, we are so excited to have you. My grandfather was a colonel, and that's why I appreciate it. And you serving the country, and Luca, who tones my body not only for film, but so that the older I get, I feel good. He's introduced me to you. But can you tell me a little bit, Luca, how'd you meet Tony?
Tony and I we initially met. I feel like we told this story a lot of times, but not on this platform. So we met in 2014, and it was around the time when I was doing a lot of shows around the Capital District, and I was selling a lot of them out. The majority, we did several shows. We sold them all out. We were beyond fire code for a couple of them, so we actually almost got in trouble a couple of times. But one of my ex-girlfriends from when I was a teenager, one of the ones that I still talk to and communicate with, her mother got a hold of me. Her name was Missy, and she says, hey, she's like, me and my husband, she's like, we own a bar now. She was like, and I heard about, everything you've been doing around this area. Would you want to come and do a show here? So I was like, yeah, sure. So I was like, let me come and check the place out. So I went and I looked at it, and we set a date, and the date happened to coincide. It was 3 days before my album was about to be released. I even remember the date. It was March 22nd was the show in 2014. And it was right before my album was going to come out. And so I said to Missy, I was like, why don't we make it an album release party? She's like, yeah, that sounds great. She goes, now, do you have a regular DJ? She was like, that you use? If not, we have an in-house DJ. So I was like, well, who's the in-house DJ? And she says, DJ LaRocco. And I said, okay. I was like, well, I never heard of him yet. I was like, but let me meet him. I was like, and let's see. As soon as we met, we just kind of clicked. Like we met, we set up a meeting for about a week later at the bar. We met there. And then we just kind of, we could almost finish each other's thoughts. Like we kind of knew where we wanted to go with the show, what we wanted to do. And we just kind of bonded just through the fact that he was a DJ, I'm an MC. Is a DJ and I'm an MC, and we do all these different things in music, and that's kind of how it all got started. And then at first it was just like, yeah, he's a cool guy, he's a good DJ. I was like, I could definitely see myself being friends with him. To now, here we are almost 10 years later, and we're like family, so it's kind of the roads we take and the people we meet. There's a lot of twists and turns, man, but every once in a while you find a couple of really good people, you know what I mean, that you can really not only bond with, but you can kind of be creative together and get your ideas flowing. We're working on 2 or 3 different things right now, the two of us together. So, yeah, that's pretty much how it all started.
That's awesome. And in light of today being the memorial for in your town, the missing child becoming a homicide, I just want to get your thoughts. What words of advice? I promised Samantha Humphrey's mother that I would do a shout out. What advice would you have in no order of importance, Tony or Luca, for people who you have children, Tony, for grieving parents of lost children? If you could just give me some words of advice on giving, being kind, or words of advice. Tony or Luca can go first.
Go ahead, Tony. You go first, buddy. You're the one with
the
kids.
First. I couldn't imagine being in that position. I wouldn't want to be in that position by any means. So it's kind of hard to say, hey, you should do this, you shouldn't do that, because I'm not there. But I would say, first and foremost, keep the faith, whatever faith or beliefs you have, stay strong with that. Stay connected with people. Don't distance yourself. Because I know how darkness can be really, really horrible, because I've been there before, and almost took my own life because of it. So I definitely understand that aspect. And I would say take a tragedy and turn it into something good, kind of like what I did with the podcast. Raise awareness, if she could, to other people about these situations. Use your story to empower and help other people, because kind of like Luke said, you go down certain roads, you meet certain people, but also you go down certain roads and you have situations in your life where absolutely suck. And you're like, why am I going through this? Well, it sucks, but it's that strength that you have to find to get through it and then learn from it and teach others not to go down that road or wherever. In this situation, I would just say, have her just try to reach out and tell her story to people, because it is important to know, and it is important to raise awareness.
Luca, you wrote a book. You're an author. What would you tell people in your books?
Yeah, well, that's, the loss of a child isn't something that I specifically covered in my book or anything, but I'm not trying to plug my book, but the name of the book was 20 Reasons and 20 Ways to Diminish Self-Doubt. There are, I think, a lot of things probably in that book that could help someone who goes through that kind of, at least start a recovery process. Because when things like that happen, I mean, that's an extreme thing. You know what I mean? I mean, they say that I think divorce is the second worst thing after death. You know what I'm saying? The loss of a child or something like that. So, I mean, but like Tony said, there's a lot of ways that you can create something positive out of it. Like, I don't know personally anyone who has done this, but like I've seen, on television and stuff, and all over the internet, these people who go through a tragedy like that, they lose a child and they become community organizers and they become advocates for like certain things, you know what I mean? And it's like when they lose a child, a lot of people I know, they start what do they call those? I can't think of the word, but they start organizations based on, you know, the loss of children. Yes, yeah, not for profit, those types of things, in response to a loss that they went through. You know what I mean? And they go and they try to help other people, you know, who might be going through the same thing. They start these organizations to help people for those exact purposes that they themselves have gone through. And that's the type of thing that you, in order to understand it, that is something you actually do have to go through to really understand it. I don't like in a lot of cases when someone says, if you haven't experienced, then don't say anything, because I don't necessarily think that's true in all cases. This is one of those cases I think it is. But for example, a case where it's not is I don't think that a heart surgeon has to go through heart surgery to be a good heart surgeon. I don't think that an attorney has to go out and commit crimes in order to become a good attorney. You understand what I'm saying? There are certain situations. So in those particular cases, I don't think that's true. But in something like that, I think the only people who can really do something about it are the people who they themselves have been through it. You know what I mean? And so I couldn't imagine. I don't have children. I can't even imagine losing my dog. You know, so I can't imagine what it would be like to actually lose a child.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to get into that before. Tony, can you tell us what the worst part of the Army was and what you learned from it?
The worst part for me, the training and all that stuff, once you understand it, it's a game. It's a job. You have certain duties and details, but it's a game. And if you know how to play a game and figure the game out quick, it's pretty easy to win. Show up on time in the right uniform and try your hardest. Do the best you can. And realize you're always going to fail. No matter what you do, you're going to fail. So once you accept that, like you're never going to be good enough. You're never, you know, once you accept that part, it's decent. But the hardest part for me, without getting too deep into it, I was supposed to be deployed, taking all the training classes and all that fun stuff. They were going to split our unit to Baghdad and Kandahar, which are kind of two separate areas in Afghanistan. And 2 weeks before, we were doing a normal Monday morning run, and I tripped in a pothole, which I've gone past thousands of times.
In Afghanistan?
No, in up in Fort Drum.
Okay.
And I blew my knee out, so I wasn't able to go on deployment. That's when they ended up booting me for medical discharge. And the hardest part of that was, one, I couldn't be there with my brothers and sisters, but then I found out afterwards that they were, I forgot what the word is, rerouted pretty much to Kabul. And when they were launching all those rockets randomly and stuff, half my platoon got hit and died. So only half of them came back over.
That's awful.
Yeah. And I was supposed to be there. You know, it was, again, a freak accident that I'm sure if I was looking better or something like that, I probably could avoid it, but I was just doing my normal run and tripped in the hole, and that was it. So, you know, I think that was the worst part, was knowing people, gaining friends, because they become your family, because you're literally with them 18, 20 hours a day, sometimes for months on end with training. So having that family and knowing what's going on, knowing I should have been there, and then not having them come back was the hardest. Some of them did, but most of them did.
That your story doesn't compare. I always say I learned crisis management on the job during 911 when I was a travel agent that day, but your story is much worse. What'd you learn from the Army?
I learned a lot. One of the biggest things I learned was there's so many people in the Army. It's like one big crock pot, as everyone knows. You don't get to choose who your, I'll say, teammates are. You don't get to choose your squad. So you have different walks of life. I was in at 30 years old, coming from upstate New York in the country, and now I have kids from Hawaii, Guam, all sorts of a cesspool of different people, ages, races, everything. So that part was crazy, because it's like you don't know who you're going to be with, and you have to make it work. You don't have a choice. It's like, oh, I don't like that person, I don't want to do this work, I'm going to do something else. No, you don't have a choice. So you make it work. You figure out, you know, at that time you're there for a job. You do what your job is. You don't have to go hang out and have a beer with them after. You know, you're there to do a work, figure it out quick, and move on. What we call Charlie Mike, continue mission. Charlie Mike, just get your stuff done and go on. So
Luca, do you want to add to knowing Tony? Did you know Tony when he was training or much later?
Yeah, yes, I did. Yeah, Tony, correct me if I'm wrong. That was after we met, right? That's when you decided to go into the
2017.
army route. That's what I figured. So yeah, I knew Tony fairly well at the time. There was a period of time for a couple of years there where we still kept in touch a little bit.
Yeah.
But we were both going through a lot of different things, and probably the end of 2016 all the way up through around the time COVID hit in 2019. We still were in touch, but we didn't keep in touch as much as we obviously do now. We talk at least every other day, pretty much. We text or whatever, even if it's just a check-in. So yeah, I did know him at that point. I actually didn't know about the injury or any of that. I knew he was in the Army. I knew he decided to go into the Army, but I didn't know really about the injury or anything until a while after it happened, when you were already discharged by the time I found out about it. So yeah, I didn't really know the details of what happened at the time, but I did know him. Yes, at that time I did.
Yeah, and how has Tony changed a character from enlisting in the Army and having to go through tripping over a pothole to avoid death? What kind of characteristics have you witnessed for growth for him?
No, well, I mean, he's just a total jerk now. So I mean, no, Tony is honestly one of the best guys I know. He's my best friend, and the thing is we've both gone through experiences, I think, over the last 4 or 5 years that have really humbled us a lot. Not that we were egotistical, jerks before that or anything like that, but I think we had a lot of life lessons over the last 4 or 5 years, both of us, where we're like, we understand certain things a lot better now. So I think that Tony, we both matured, a lot. In some ways, we're very different, but in a lot of ways, we're exactly the same guys we were back in 2014. Like, we get together, and a girl that I dated recently, I'm not going to say names here. You both know who I'm talking about, but a girl that I most recently dated said to me, actually, not Tony, I don't think I told you this. She was like, she's like, you and Tony, she's like, you guys remind me of like Batman and Robin. And I go, well, who's Batman and who's Robin? She's like, it don't matter. She was like, you guys just have like that kind of connection. She's like, you're just like, he's your sidekick, you're his sidekick. And the beautiful part about it too is there is no leader between the two of us. And the reason why I say that, and Tony, I don't know if you noticed this, but like when we did the book deal, okay, the book signing, like that was my gimmick. Like that was something that I put together that I wanted to organize. I asked you to speak at it. I took the lead on that. However, when it came to the show, the last little gig that we most recently did, you booked it. You were the DJ. I was just there to do a couple live numbers, and you had the lead on that. You see what I'm saying? So it depends on the situation as to who kind of takes the lead on what. But we never get in each other's way, step on each other's toes, or I don't even think we've ever raised our voices at each other for anything. I don't think we've ever really had much of a disagreement. And the only one other case that I've heard of that, and that's Elton John and his writer, that they have never once argued in their lives. And that's the only other team that I know that has actually been able to work that well together. So to answer your question, Tony's matured a lot. He's a lot. He's very humble. He wasn't like I said, there was no big ego back then. But you know what I'm saying, Tony. Like we both matured, we both grown up, and we both become a little bit more humble towards certain things. And I think on a universal level, I think Tony has become a better man overall since the injury, since everything, and getting away from that last one you were with. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely done nothing but only good things, man. And I've never seen Tony as happy as he is now. We've never been better friends, every single day. I feel like our friendship just gets better and better,
Which leads me into the fact that I'm not going to take a commercial break because I have a double show and I'm selfish and we have always coming up later. And you have a project tonight coming up. Can you tell me about that?
Me or
What's
Tony?
What's going on tonight?
Which one?
Me or Tony?
Either one of you. Who wants to chime in here?
All right, well, I'll go first. Yeah, tonight, I actually didn't have a whole lot going on. Which is actually unusual for me. I already worked out today and did everything. We have a lot of snow here, so my morning appointment's canceled. I'm a personal trainer, so we already know that. So my appointment's canceled this morning. So I got up, worked out, shoveled the snow, did some tax stuff. It's tax season, so I started putting my taxes together. But tonight, I'm probably just going to kick back and relax because the next few weekends in a row are going to be extremely busy. And not to mention, I work all week. I have appointments all throughout the week. Kim, you know this. Tony, you know this. So I'm usually pretty busy. So I try to sneak in naps where I can, because I've always got something going on. So tonight, I'm going to be kicking back with my dog.
You're going to be kicking back. Okay. I thought you had something going on with that DJ stint. No, not tonight.
Not tonight.
Oh, not tonight. Okay. Tell me about your DJing, Tony.
Yeah, so I used to DJ, like Luke said, way back in the day, we did tons of shows together, stuff like that. And it was just to have fun and make a little extra money. I kind of retired it. I sold all my stuff, obviously went to the military. I sold almost everything in my life. Before I was in the military, I was actually homeless. So I got rid of everything. And I got back into it saying, let's make some extra money. I think I can get back into it. And me and Luke were kind of kidding around one day and, oh, yeah, we can go back into the scene. Now we're the old guys. We went from doing rave shows to book signings and writing scripts for TV shows. So I'm like, yeah, let's get back into it. And I got back into it. So I'm doing it. Now it's moneymaker for me. Now you're going to pay my price because I know what my value is and I know my worth. And I'm not going to screw you over either. Like I charge $100 an hour, but for most DJs, you're talking 150, 200. Most of them are trying to get. So
bro, it's closer to 400 now around here. Yeah, they're charging crazy prices now, man. Crazy. Sorry, go ahead.
No, and they don't interact with the crowds. They're not very. Most of them, some of them are, but most of them are just they're there, pick $1 and that's it, and do their thing. So I've been DJing things like karaoke. I've been doing karaoke parties,
which are fun. Come out and come to them, man. They're awesome.
Absolutely.
How come I never get invited to these karaoke parties? Oh, I've been out for. Just kidding.
It's gonna be fun. But yeah, I've been doing this place called the Grapevine out in Cobleskill, New York. We're doing a boozy bingo party. So in the mornings, 9 to 11, I got booked 3 shows now on my calendar. We got booked where they play bingo, has some drinks, and it's very fast paced. So B11, B1, all that. And then in between each game, we play a little music, call it a day. I've been doing birthday parties, weddings, whatever you want. So it's been good. It's been good. It's fun and interactive. So
tell me about, you have some, if you can talk about this, upcoming movies you're getting ready for. What's the title and what are you doing?
You want to go, Tone, or you want me to go?
That's all you, brother.
That's all me. All right. Well, I know which one you're getting to, but most recently I did a little short with Sean Ubeli that got premiered out in Rome at the Rome Capitol Theater called Deadly Shore, where I actually played the lead character, Silas Shore, which was a lot of fun. So we only shot the beginning of it and premiered that at the little short film festival they did, but he said afterwards, which I didn't even know, that it's going to be a feature-length film. And I was like, so I'm going to have to come back for this. And he was like, yeah. He was like, there's a whole movie. This was just the opening scene. And I was like, oh, okay. So there's that. That's still in the works. I haven't heard when we're going to be filming again. But, Kim, what you're talking about is the Hickmans, okay? The Hickman script that we're working on. And the way that whole thing came about is Tony, a few months back, was nice enough to invite me to Atlantic City. And when he first invited me, there's a couple of things. When he first invited me, I thought it was just going to be me, him, and Stephanie, and maybe one other person. So when I got there the day before, I stayed the night, and then we were leaving the next day. I was like, by the way, what time are we leaving in the morning? And Stephanie was like, 7. We got to get up early because we have to go and get everybody else. And I was like, wait, who's everybody else? She was like, oh, my whole family's going on this. Tony didn't tell you? And I was like, no, Tony didn't tell me that. But the thing is, man, is like, to me, that was a lot more meaningful than just a regular trip, because like you basically were saying, Luke, you're like family, come with us. I want you to meet the rest of the family. And I really took that part to heart, because like, you don't have to invite people on family vacations, and the fact that I was invited was awesome. Anyway, so there's that. Anyway, we're leaving and we're driving through Middleburg and Carey, whatever. And we're going through and I'm looking around. And I'm like, and it reminded me of the opening scene from My Cousin Vinny when they're driving through Alabama and they see free dirt manure for sale, firewood, and all this stuff. And I'm looking around, and I just looked at him. And I was like, Tone, I go, where the heck do all you hicks out here get your gas and stuff anyway? I'm like, there's like nothing around for miles. So we started laughing. I go, dude, imagine a TV show. I was like, kind of like the Beverly Hillbillies, but not really, like more backwoods than that. I was like about a family called the Hickmans. I'm like, and then there could be like a crazy uncle, and his name is Hick. Like they call him Hick. His name is Hickory, but they call him Hick for short. So his name is Hick Hickman. And we start going, and I started coming up with these different scenarios, and we're laughing, you know. So we start driving. We forget about it. So a couple of days after we got back from the trip, he messaged me, and he goes, hey, bro. He goes, you remember what we were laughing and talking about the Backwoods family on the way to Atlantic City? And I go, yeah, the Hickmans thing. And he was like, yeah. He goes, dude, what would you think about actually putting something together and developing something for that? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't see why not. I was just like, what'd you have in mind? So we got together, we talked about it. And then we just started kind of coming up with characters and stuff. And just a few weeks ago, we met for the first time to start actually writing the script and all that stuff. And then we just was it last Saturday, Tony, that we got together for a little while? We got together again last Saturday. So we've had 2 writing sessions so far. So I think 1, maybe 2 more, and we'll pretty much have everything put together. And then I'm going to be sending the script out to all the actors and actresses because I want their input. You know, me and Tony, we already talked about this, that we want the characters to feel completely comfortable in or the people playing the characters. We want them to be comfortable in the roles, you know? So it's like, if they see something that they might not like, or they think, hey, I think my character would do this instead, I'm like, tell us. I was like, because we'll use it. If it's a better idea than what we have, then I want to use it. You know, I'm not a control freak like that. I just want to get the best product possible to put out there. But yeah, that's what we're working on now. It's called the Hickmans. Going to be a lot of fun. And then after that, I just say again.
Is it a comedy or genre?
Yeah, it is. It's a comedy. It's a comedy, but it's not tongue in cheek. It's not like really slapstick. It's not like Three Stooges comedy. The comedy is in the dialogue. A lot of there's a couple funny things that we wrote into it just for, you know, a quick pop, but a lot of the comedy is in the dialogue. You know, it's like they say words wrong. They don't use them correctly. They extend words for no reason. Like, and they just say things that don't make sense, but you know what they're trying to say. So just as an example, there's a scene that we were talking about where Scuba, shout outs to Scuba, Scuba's character Hick, Scuba's character is Hick. He plays the crazy cousin. And there's a scene when he decides to wake his Uncle Cletus. He calls him Uncle Clit, but his name is Uncle Cletus. And he decides to wake him up with firecrackers.
We all have crazy, dysfunctional people in our family. So how did you come up with the title, Tony and Luca?
We just kind of did, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, I just said it. I was like, you know, imagine a backwoods family named the Hickmans. So I was like, oh man, it would be funny.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say was during that scene when Scuba wakes Uncle Cletus up with the firecrackers, when he goes back, he lands on a shovel which hits Scuba right in his G spot, and so he goes down, and then Cletus stands up, and you know what he's trying to say, but he says it completely wrong, and he says, "See that there, kid? That's what we call instant Kama Sutra around these parts." Like, instead of instant karma, you know what he's trying to say, but he does not know the verbiage at all or anything like that. So yeah, it's that kind of
life. And remember, the women won the battle of the sexes this year, and that's why we Teflon and I no longer talk because we won.
I don't even want to get started on that guy. Seriously, man. Like
But tell me about, are you casting more characters? You have some cast. Who are the characters? What's the audition process? Where are you at with that, Tony and Luca?
I can run that. So it's actually really awesome. The characters, we wrote them out, and we have 90% of them we already have booked. Just because while we're writing the characters out, we're like, oh, you know who will play this role really good? For instance, Stephanie's dad will play a great Uncle Cletus. He just kind of has that attitude and the kind of persona he puts off. It's going to be perfect. Scuba is playing Hick because when we were writing his character out, we're like, oh, we know exactly who can play this. So the characters or the people who are playing these characters actually almost wrote it out itself. So it worked really well. I think we're missing just 2 people for the kids right now. So yeah, if you know any Asians or I don't know what were you gonna say? A white kid and Asian, they're twins, but they're gonna be
They're
complete
twins, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So we're gonna have like one white kid and one Asian kid or something like that,
So how old are the kids that you're casting? How old do they have to be?
So this role we're looking at, what would we say, about 6 to 10? Somewhere
I'd
in
say
that
between 6 and 8. I don't want to go much above that, simply
Yeah.
because I don't want them. They need to look like they're the same age.
Yep.
So,
Do the
But-
kids have to parents? Do they have to sign a waiver or a likeness contract? Do you have that going too?
yeah, probably before we actually get everything started, we will have everybody sign a release form. Just for it's always good to do that when you're doing this type of stuff, especially when you're working with people who have experience with this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's important that you follow the process, you follow the procedure, you do what you got to do. But yeah, like Tony said, we only have two more characters that we got to cast, and as we were writing everything out, I think when we were coming up with the character development, it was easy because we both knew people where it's like, this would be awesome. And one of the great parts about it is for the husband and wife, which is Cletus and Maud, it's going to be Tony's father and mother-in-law that are playing these parts, because just their dynamic. Like, I was watching them one night at the clubhouse and they're going back and forth, and I'm like, and I went to Tony, I was like, dude, let me ask you a question. Do you think that they would play these parts? Because they're already husband and wife. You just have to turn the camera on and let them go. You know what I mean? And the dynamic was exactly what I wanted. Ray is a little bit slimmer than I imagined Cletus would be, but it still works just because he's got that same kind of energy to him. And also, I love the guy. He's funny as hell. You can tell him I said that. I think he's hysterical.
Well, what kind of scenes are you doing? Like, I was so stressed the other day. It could have been a made-for-TV movie, and I was driving, and I have a clean driver's record, so they can't say us women drivers, but I took out my passenger car door. It could have been a made-for-TV scene. I wish somebody had a camera. We could have had a fender bender breakup scene right there, because my passenger car door mirror shattered as I was driving, and glass everywhere. What kind of scenes, what kind of staging, what kind of setup? Can you paint the picture? Can you give some of that away, some of that dirt for your script?
Yeah. I mean, I think Tony would be in agreement with this. I'm not speaking for you, but I don't want to give too much away because we haven't even had the opportunity to premiere it or anything yet. But I don't know. I'll tell one little thing, and then Tone, I don't know if you want to tell one or two little things.
Just
but
a little gossip tip.
There's one little tiny thing that I will tell you is it's really based around, I'm not going to tell you how it happens or why it happens, but they get a flat tire. And just one little thing, just so you get an idea of the type of laughs that we're looking for from this, is when they're when they're trying to find a spare, one of the guys goes back. I don't know if we're going to have Brandon's character do this or Cletus. I don't know who yet. But when he opens the trunk to look for a spare, there's going to be a random goat in the trunk. And he's just going to say, "Oh, hey, Charlie." And then he's going to kind of just push him out of the way. Like, it's like totally normal to them that they have just a goat chilling in the back of their car. So like little things like that. Like, it's not things you don't expect to see. Like, who's going to have a goat in their trunk? You don't see that coming. And all of a sudden you open the trunk and there's just a goat just chilling in the trunk, and you're just like, "Oh, hey, Charlie, excuse me." Like, it's totally normal to them. So anyway, that's my take. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, actually, within that same scene, one of the ones I liked, and we have the place for filming and everything. They're going to be broken down with the flat tire, and they're trying to find this tire, and their other uncle, who is played by my president, he's playing, and he looks very similar to us, very redneck, and so he's going to roll up on a tractor with a little trailer on the back, like a little lawn trailer with a big old tractor trailer tire, and be like, "Oh, will this work? No, okay. Well, I'm going to go off to the lawnmower races now," and just just real quick kind of small funny stuff. And it's going to be like Luke said, it's going to be in the dialect. It's going to be things that I'd say normal people would be like, oh, that's silly. Why would they, like it's totally normal to them, because for that family it is. Like out here where I live, it's very normal to hear gunshots all day long because they're targeting, they're practicing or whatever. Where if you're in the city,
chickens and roosters.
Yeah. And we actually had 20 chickens, but they all got murdered. So, but yeah, like we have bear.
Buy a bear.
Yeah. So it's going to be like that real good, funny comedy that's authentic and genuine, that people are just going to be like, what, do people actually live like this? And the answer is we're exaggerating it, but yes, that life does work. A lot of roads up by my house right now are cut off because they're seasonal roads. They don't plow them. So if you don't know where you're going, you're trapped pretty much. So yeah, it's going to be good. And like I said, the scenes, just those couple scenes with the flat tire is going to be amazing. Just the whole lead up to it is going to be a great time. So it's going to be good. It's going to be funny from the opening scene all the way to the end.
So I'm presuming that most of your scenes are going to be on location. As you know, I've filmed in studios before, and we worked with some major stars like Sarah Jess and Ryan Gosling. And are you doing on location, or are you going to do some green screen work? How's that going to work?
I think we might do some green screen for maybe like the opening. I'm not going to tell you how it opens. Tony knows what I'm talking about. I don't know that we'll actually need a green screen for that, but it's a possibility. But the majority of it, if not all of it, will be shot. How long is that stretch?
Oh, probably
half a mile, maybe.
Comfortably half mile.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. About a half a mile space. This is the whole thing's going to be recorded, because everything we need. When we went to scout locations, this was probably about 4 or 5 months ago, Tony, when we did that, something like that. Yep. When we went around to see the different locations, the first one that Tony took me to, I was like, this is perfect. And the guy said that we could use some of his farm animals for some of the scenes. And that's how I got the idea of having the goat in the trunk. And I was like, dude, wouldn't this be funny if we did this one scene? Like, for some reason, I don't know why, that one little thing stands out to me in the whole script. Yeah. It's like when they're just, because like you don't see that type of thing, you know what I mean? But it's totally normal with these people. So
yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah,
how many days of production will it take? I've been in movies where it's been a couple of weeks, and then I've been in movies with a couple of months. Do you have a shot script? Do you have a layout of how many days of production, and then what happens in post-production?
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty much, I would assume, probably only 2-3 times we'll have to shoot everything in sense of like actual, because it's not going to be a long, it's more of a pilot, maybe 10-15 minutes long. But I think 90% of it will be done probably within the first day. Because like you were saying, Luke, that beginning shot is going to be somewhere different. But I think 9% of it can be done maybe in 2-3 days at most.
Yeah, I think one of the things is for such a short thing, you have to get your point across quick. You know what I mean? Like these short films, like you really have to. And so like I thought of a way of how to get all the characters across in an efficient and timely manner, which is the opening scene. The whole thing is kind of done from Scuba's character's perspective. And I told Tony, I was like, I think what we should do is we'll do, a few takes. We'll get what we have written. We'll get what we want. But then, dude, I was like, I say we turn the camera on and let him go. Because you could get gold from improv. You know what I mean? Absolutely. It could be, and like Jim Carrey movies, his first ones back in the day, the Ace Ventura's, Dumb and Dumber. So much of those films people don't realize was not scripted. The things you see on screen. Like the part when Jim Carrey says, hey, you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? And he starts yelling. You see Jeff Daniels physically start to laugh because it wasn't scripted. He just did it. So, and that's the type of stuff, that humor that I want. Is like I could just want to turn the camera on and let Scuba, Ray, and Tina just go. Like those three especially, because when they're interacting together, I think it's going to be hilarious. Absolutely. But I also don't want to be Stanley Kubrick in the sense where you do 180 takes to the point where the actors are physically exhausted and get upset with you. But that guy was relentless with the way he filmed. However, if you watch a Kubrick film, everything is so pinpointed and finely done that like if it's in his film, he wanted it there. So like a lot of people say, like, I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but the film The Shining, how there's a lot of continuity errors, but there's so many that I realized one day, I'm like, he did this on purpose to create an unsettling atmosphere. And I looked into it and I found out that I was right, because there's scenes that don't make sense. The layout of the hotel doesn't make sense. And they shot so many takes for different things. And that's why Shelley Duvall ended up having like post-traumatic stress from filming that movie. I don't want to be like that. I want to do, 4 or 5 takes of each thing, and then just turn the camera on and say, go ahead, guys, just do your thing, talk, have fun, So, but yeah, I'd say probably 3 or 4 days worth of shooting, probably do it. Couple weekends.
Very cool. Love the hat, by the way. I've seen it before. I'm going to see it again, Luca. And Tony.
I love your hair, bro. I love your hair.
Yeah, it's amazing. And again, I do appreciate you serving the country, and wanted to get some words of advice for our audience, because I have a little bit of my mental health issues and post-traumatic stress going on from the last 5 years of whatever has happened in the government. We don't want to get into corruption on this show, but give me some words of advice for people struggling with depression or trauma, or just feeling sorry for themselves, because normally you can feel sorry for yourself, but give me some words of advice, being in combat and training and Afghanistan and all of that training stuff that you had in the Army. You're a little bit more in tune with the worldly advice, and I'd like to hear that from you before we wrap.
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing that anyone can say is, "Oh, you'll be okay. You'll be all right." That's the worst thing I've learned people say. "Oh, it's just a phase. You'll get over it." I say, embrace that suck. Embrace what you're feeling, because what you're feeling is real for you. It may not be real for me, but it's real for that person. It may be real for Luke. It may be real for you, but it may not be real for me. So embrace what you're feeling as a person. Take that negative energy you're feeling and try to, it's hard to do, but try to turn it to a positive, which again is very difficult. But one thing that always kept me kind of my why, find out what your why is. But I've always learned there's someone, you matter to somebody somewhere in the world. It may not be today, tomorrow, right now. You may not think that, because it's hard to when you're in a depressive state or you're very upset. I understand that. So you matter to somebody somewhere in the world. So if you want to let yourself down, that's fine, but don't let them down, because whatever you do is going to ripple effect and affect other people. And if something were to happen to Luke today, I would be distraught. I would be totally off my rocker. And I know it'd be vice versa. Same thing with Stephanie and, my kids, if something happened to them. So I have to remember when I'm going through my bouts of depression, or it's been, a certain time period of the year or a certain date, I have a lot of kind of triggers with that stuff. I've learned you're still here. You can still do good things. You have to fight for your why, fight for that person in your life that matters, whether it's a parent, whether it's a sibling, a child, a spouse, best friend, partner, whatever. Like I say, I look at it as, it's not you. You can feel sorry for yourself. That sucks. But the thing is, you have to get through it for someone else, because you matter to someone else more than you matter to yourself at that point. So you got to think about the bigger picture, because I didn't realize how many people, like back in the day, when I was in the Army, when I tried committing suicide, when I was getting out and stuff, I was really upset because I had this whole life plan. Okay, I'm going military career, 20 years, this, that, and the other. So when I blew my knee out, I was like, well, now what do I do? And I went through a lot of bad depression stuff. And when I tried to kill myself, I realized afterwards, after I started getting my mental health better, how many people I actually affected and how many people really were affected in a negative way, where they're like, holy crap, you can't do it again. We need you here in life. So yeah, just think about like the other people in your life, not yourself. Don't be selfish. Think about the
Very
other
good
people.
point. And you said a lot of good can come out of trauma. Luca,
Absolutely.
you're my trainer. You're my personal trainer to my body, and I haven't taken. People have asked me to take a Xanax to get over my sister's death, and I chose to deal with my pain from my beautiful, gorgeous sister's death, who was an attorney in New York State, with hiking mountains and painting and taking care of my body and eating right and working. Luca, what would you say to people who are struggling with trauma as a personal trainer? What would you tell me if I were to go back and do it over again, mourn my sister's death 5 years ago, and would you recommend that special blue pill in the form of a Xanax? Do you diet? What do you recommend for people taking care of their mental and physical health?
Well, number one thing I could say is read my book. I'm going to say that again because as I was writing that book, I had to address a lot of things within myself and things that I have already thought about, but maybe not, didn't think about them quite enough. And so as I was writing my book, I had to revisit some things that you really don't want to revisit. There's things that happen that you don't want to go back to. But read my book. That's number one. Okay. Number two, you have to find something to channel the energy into a positive way. Okay. That's how I started writing music, was because, as a lot of people know, I was a professional wrestler back in the day from 13 to right before I turned 19. And that was my entire life for that time period. And there was nothing else that mattered to me other than working out and wrestling. That was it. I didn't care about anything else. And when that suddenly was gone, and it wasn't like a build up and it kind of faded away after a time. One day it was there and the next day it wasn't anymore. And it was such a quick change. I was, not to say anything, I was pissed. Okay. I was not a happy person when I was 18. And then all of a sudden one day I just kind of started writing music. And then I started noticing how much I was channeling into that. And then I met my producer, and then I met other artists that I started collaborating with. And then I started doing shows, and then I started coming out with albums and mixtapes. And then I met Tony, and then I went to LA, and then I went to Atlanta. You never know where that path is going to take you. So find a path to channel the energy into that's positive. And even if it's not completely positive, okay, where it's like some people get into martial arts and MMA fighting, and they start just taking aggression out on other people, but in a legal way. Okay, so even though that might be violent, it's still channeling it into something that is actually useful to yourself. Okay. Absolutely. And find things that you want to do. Like, just you have to have the mindset. Okay, find something that you love and find something you want to do. Don't be afraid to try new things. Okay, because you might find something you love. Just as a quick little example, Keanu Reeves, okay? Not that he was depressed, but just as an example of what I mean. If you've seen the movie Point Break, okay, the movie about the surfers, Patrick Swayze was the lead and Keanu Reeves was the lead. And they had to learn how to surf to do those roles. Keanu Reeves learned how to surf for that role. I talk about this in my book. He learned how to surf and still surfs to this day. It's one of his favorite things in the world, and he didn't even know until he tried it for a film, and then now he does it still to this day. He fell in love with it. So you never know. If you try something, you may love it. You have no idea. It's like Tony and I, we're already talking about our next thing after the Hickmans. I talked to him earlier today. I was like, hey, bro, he brought something to me. It's kind of like lots of times I'll come up with an idea and not think anything of it. And then a couple of days later, Tony will be like, hey, bro, you remember that idea you had? What if we tried this? So lots of times I'll come up with something and think nothing of it. And Tony will see some kind of genius in it and be like, bro, no, we should go with this. So the next thing we're going to be doing is hopefully starting to work together to talk about the dating world, okay, and give some advice where we have a little bit different view on that. Some of our concepts and ideas mesh very well, but he's still willing to do things I'm not willing to do anymore, and I'm willing to do things that he's maybe not so much willing to do anymore. So we have opposite opinions, but some of the same opinions. But like I said, find those things that you want to invest your time into that's going to create some kind of positive outcome, or at least has the potential to create a positive outcome for yourself.
Would you say wrestling set the stage for the rest of your entire life on how to be disciplined and start your own company and become a model and a business owner?
Absolutely. That's actually, again, I talk about that in my book. I talk about that right at the beginning. Was the first time I ever got into the ring, and something happened at that moment when I got in the ring. And wrestling prepared me for the real world, how people actually are, okay, and how some people are willing to do things that I could never imagine doing to other people. It created integrity. It created discipline, okay, because I knew I had to be a certain way if I was going to get involved with what went on in the ring. And it created something inside me. I was never going to quit, no matter what. I might change paths. I might go into a completely different thing. Like when I was 17, if you told me that when I was 20, I was going to be in the studio recording music, I'd have called you a liar. I'd be like, no, man, I'm going to be in the ring doing my thing. What are you talking about? But 3 years later, I was in the studio recording music, talking about things that I experienced in the ring. So again, you never know where it's going to take you. And yes, to answer your question simply, wrestling set the stage for everything. It got me comfortable in front of an audience, in front of a camera, got me in tune with my body and my physique and being athletic. And here I am today, so.
It's definitely important to have my body and mind in check. And sometimes the rest of our audience might not know how to balance out life. If someone were wanting to get a hold of you, Luca, how would they get your book and how would they reach you for training?
Well, to find my book, all you have to do is go to Amazon. Okay, it's 20 Reasons and 20 Ways to Diminish Self-Doubt. Or you can visit the little Facebook page I created for it, which is /20 Reasons and 20 Ways. You can find it there. There's links that go to the Amazon page. And then to find me online for training, you can visit my website. It's pow-fitness.com. Again, it's pow-fitness.com. Or you can visit my other website, lucabrassy.com. That's my music, and my book is on there and a whole bunch of other stuff. Or you can find me on social media. It's all /Brassy Luca, whether it's SoundCloud, Twitter, or Facebook, whatever. Reverb Nation /Luca Brassy. The only one that's different is Instagram, because Luca Brassy for some reason was already taken. So it's /Brassy Luca. So it's Instagram /Brassy Luca, or all the other social media /Luca Brassy. You can find me, or you can email me, lucabrassy85@gmail.com. That's pretty much it.
And Tony, when do we hear your podcasts and where do we hear them?
Yeah, you can find it on every platform. I am on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, iHeartRadio, MPA, NPR. Any place you listen to this podcast, I am on there. And it's simply click in the search button, triggered the podcast. And it's a little black and gold little microphone you'll see. There's another company that does a podcast called Triggered, and they're kind of like a comedic thing. So I had to kind of reword it and rebrand it. So just Triggered the podcast. And you can hear, check us out on Facebook, same thing, Triggered the podcast. Again, Anchor and Spotify for listening to it. And I put shows out. I haven't put one out in a little while because I've been doing so much other work. Me and Luke have been really busy. But usually I put them out once every couple weeks. Or if something's just really heavy on my chest, I just hop on 7-10 minutes, 15 minutes, just a quick little, here you go. I also have it on the YouTube, same thing, Triggered the podcast, and that is on StreamYard, so you can see the actual visual and audio. But if you just want to listen to it, if you're in the car, any of those podcast sites will work. Same, Triggered the podcast.
Yes, and we definitely appreciate both of your insights and your time. I know you're so crazy busy. I know you told me, and I begged to get you on this new community show, Now or Never. We could call it community kindness for all I care, just to touch the public and reach out and try to help people that are not necessarily wanting to voice that they're going through depression or mental health or thinking about suicide. So this is very important, and I appreciate both of your time. Any last words? Anything we haven't covered before I bring on Always?
Tony, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I would say, stay triggered. Smile. Life does get better. Again, there was a point where I was in a really bad spot, and my life is wonderful now. I feel very blessed. And keep positive people around you. If you have someone that's a leech or negative, and you're always around them, and they're around you, and you just feel negative afterwards, get rid of them. You don't need it. Stay positive. Put positive people in your life.
Agreed.
And Luca, any last words?
Pow. That's it for me. I think
over wealth. I know that by hanging around with Luca has trained my mind, body, and soul. I encourage everyone to get their bodies in check, not just their physical bodies, but their minds. And I appreciate everyone's time today. We have Always Carey coming up in a little while, next in the lineup. It's a special memorial today. We're praying wholeheartedly for the Humphrey family. It's just the media has given them a really hard time, and they're feeling it. And so I'm just reaching out to tell everybody that just be kind. You never know what anybody is going through. It's not a good story that there's a 14-year-old that was found in a river in New York State. We certainly have compassion for that. And God bless everybody. Thank you so much, Luca and Tony. We'll look for the Hickmans, and we're so excited. And if you ever want to come back and just give me a play-by-play about production, or you want me to cover some of that and get it in the media, definitely we can do this again.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be in touch. You already know. Thank you, Kim, so much. Tony, thank you, brother. And I'll see you. When do we see each other again? 25th?
25th. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right.
Say
All right,
hi
Kim.
to your lovely wife, Tony.
I will. Thank you.
And God bless. And thank you so much for your time. Be safe.
Thank you.
Wow.